The views and opinions expressed in this content are that of a continuously evolving nature and are subject to change as humanity evolves into higher states of awareness.
Hi everyone, just Lee here again from Real Spirit Dynamics, and I tell you what the universe tells me. And in this video, what I want to talk about is how to transmute fear and negativity into love. And I'm going to give an example of one of the ways in which the universe does this. Okay, so when I was young, I used to play out in the backyard, because in England we've got backyards and back lanes. A lot of houses have got like a back lane where traffic can get up and down for refuse collection and things like that. And when we were children in the 80s and the 90s, we used to play in these back lanes and we used to explore, get up to mischief, etc., etc. Because this is how we learned back then. We didn't have all the phones and the games, etc., etc. We spent most of our times outdoors. But anyway, there was this one time I was throwing stones, okay? I got into throwing stones and me and my friends would throw stones and try and hit targets, etc., etc. And there was this one day where I picked up quite a big stone and I decided to throw it down the lane as hard as possible. So I picked up this big stone and I threw it as hard as possible right down the lane, and the wind caught the stone, okay, and it swerved and went straight through a neighbour's window. Okay, and this was traumatizing for me because I was absolutely terrified of the consequences this was going to have on us, because back then parents got very, very angry with children, okay? They would like literally get extremely angry. They would sometimes hit children, and this was just the normal thing to do back in the 80s and the 90s. A lot of children got smacked by the parents constantly, and it creates this trauma where you just fear it happening, okay? It doesn't stop children doing naughty things because that's how they learn, but it creates this fear that's not needed, okay? So I was traumatized by this. I literally ran in the house and I pretended it wasn't me. And but of course the neighbours knew it was me because they'd seen me and my friends throwing stones. They knew exactly where the stone came from, so they came storming down. This has gone through our window, and then my mother literally got angry. Okay, she got very angry, shouted at us, smacked us, etc. Caused this crazy, emotional, traumatic experience for us. Okay, and that was how things were back then. We would get these traumatic experiences, and a lot of us as empaths have these traumatic experiences for a reason. Okay, so we can eventually learn how to transmute them into love. And I'm going to explain how this happens and how the universe brings these experiences back around here. Because what happened was, I took over this house where my mother passed away. And there was one day a couple of years ago, I was in the back lane and I saw a child down the street who lives there, and he was throwing stones. Okay, so the universe brought it back round so I could see it from my perspective. And a few days later, a stone hit my back window. So when this happened, I already knew how I was going to handle this, you see. I knew that I did not want to create the traumatic experience that I had when I was a child, being that child, okay? So I knew how to transmute that negativity and that fear into love. So what I did was, instead of storming down, getting angry, shouting, "Your son's nearly put my window out," this and that, I was very calm. I just said, "Your son's playing with stones. I know it's what children do. I did this when I was young. One of the stones has hit the wall. It just missed the window. Can you just tell him just to be a little bit more careful, just in case?" Okay, so because I said it like that, with the law of state transfer, my state was calm, loving. Even if the stone went through the window, I would have still been loving. I would have done it in a loving way because I knew how to transmute that energy, you see. Because whether you're horrible to a child, nasty, or very reasonable, makes no difference to what the child's going to do for its learning experience, okay? And a lot of the times, being angry and smacking children like they used to do just creates trauma. And because I said it in this way to the parents, they then said to the child in a loving way as well, and the child stopped. It never happened again, because children know if they're doing something naughty, they know if an adult is onto them And once they know they're onto them, especially if it's someone they don't know, they'll stop that activity. Okay, so this is one of the ways in which I transmuted my fear into love. And the more we do this, the more people do this as well. The universe kind of copies, and we put out this more of a higher vibrational frequency that helps everyone evolve in a loving way, as opposed to a non-loving way, and instilling fear into young people, children, etc. And the universe has a very clever way of bringing your experiences back around so you can view them from a different paradigm and deal with them in a different way, which is part of the transmutation process from fear and negativity into love. And that's what we as empaths are here to do, you see. We as empaths are here to go through all these traumatic experiences so we can transmute them into love. Okay, so try not to feel bad, try not to feel like a victim because of all these things you went through, because you understand how to transmute them. Okay, people who haven't gone through those things are still in the old paradigm, and they're still doing things like getting angry and causing this negativity. So it's all a learning process, and the universe is doing this in a very clever way. Okay, but that's just one example out of thousands of different examples of how you can transmute fear and negativity into love. And we as empaths are here to do that. Anybody can do that if they've got enough experience. But yeah, let us know your experiences with doing that. And if you understand, or if you've got any more questions, please leave it in the comments. And I hope you like that video. That's it for today, and see you guys next time.